Yeah, welcome to the solution demonstration. My name is Jonathan Hedén, and I look after our customers and prospects in IFS Nordics as a pre-sales manager. So let's get this going. Today's presentation is structured around 4 of our main differentiators. We'll start off with workforce forecasting. More on that in a second. Later on, Paul White will show us the latest and greatest features when it comes to customer interaction and the customer appointment booking, which we find extremely important in the business-to-consumer use cases, but also in many business-to-business use cases. We'll then move on to the area of scheduling optimization, which is truly a specialist business of IFS. And finally, we'll top it off with showcasing how our remote assistance product can help technicians in the field resolve more issues during the first visit of service. And before we run into the forecasting scenario, I would like to elaborate on our capability to optimize service on multiple time horizons. So first of all, what we do at IFS is that we provide advanced simulation capabilities for the long-term horizon of planning and optimizations, so that our customers can right-size their workforce to determine that they have the right guys in the right place, and they can also simulate and get suggestions on these factors. Secondly, we operationalize these simulations in the strategic term into shift plans, so that we ensure that the customers have the right guys on shift in the right location, in the right place, when the customer would like to book an appointment. Now we're looking in the medium term. And finally, when it comes to a week or a day, even the day of execution, our dynamic scheduling engine will automate up to 99% of all decision making in the scheduling process, and continuously adapt to new changes. So that's really optimization on all time horizons, and that's truly unique to IFS. The way we can optimize both in the strategic time horizon, but also in day and everything in between. And I will start off by talking about strategic forecasting for the long term, the strategic term. For this, we provide something called the What If Scenario Explorer. And this part of the product deals with your historic, current, or future service demand in the form of work orders. It deals with your resourcing or potential resourcing, and the business KPIs that you would like to achieve. And what it allows is that allows you to discover the impact on these parameters. So, for example, you could specify a given resourcing and a given work order demand, and it could figure out what KPIs would be possible to achieve in your business given this resourcing and this demand. So in conclusion, the WISE responds to the following questions. How many staff are required in my roster? Where should these guys be based? What skills do they have? What KPIs could I achieve? Do I need to use overtime to overcome this situation? And for example, how much would I be likely to travel in such a scenario, or how much fuel would I be likely to use? That's what WISE does. And it brings incredible value to our customers, as they can right-size their workforces, and also, for example, simulate the impact of taking on new service contracts, expanding into new geographies, and so on. So we can really predict the future before it arrives. And now over to the actual demonstration of WISE. So what you see right now on the screen is our simulation workspace, where I on the right-hand side can pick an investigation. So the 3 factors is our demand, our resourcing, and our KPIs. So up here, I'll select a demand. which then immediately gives me a heat map for a certain work order demand in the mid UK. What I'll do then is that I pick a resourcing. So in this case, I have three field service engineers that can undertake work in this area. And what I can do from here is that I can either run a manual test, as it's called, to determine what KPIs would be achievable. I can also run an automatic test and specify the KPIs that I would like to achieve. For example, minimize the number of resources, and I want to allocate 100% of the jobs. And from there, I can fire off a test to have the whys determine where should my resources best be based, what skills should they have, and how many do I need and where. And while waiting for this test that I just launched to be completed, it will take approximately a minute. We can have a look at previous investigations at the bottom pane here of the screen, which I've just conducted before this session. So I previously run a test right here, which was manual. I just wanted to determine the KPIs, and I could instantly see that I could only allocate 63% of my jobs with a travel time of 0.76. I can also view these simulation results in a schedule, or for example in a report like this, which gives me all the KPIs and the resourcing information of whom I've used in this simulation, and so on. And now our test actually completed here. So I can click on the newest test, and I can see that it added 2 resources for me, because that is what was needed in order to fulfill the KPI of allocating 100% of the jobs. And if I want to investigate further, I can of course see the resulting schedule in the Gantt and further investigate if I'm satisfied with the results, and then later on move on to operationalize this in a shift plan, for example. So I could here review the scheduling result on the map. I could instantly also derive analysis data, for example, of my resources utilization directly in the user interface. So my resources are well utilized, and I'm happy with the results. So I can move back to WISE and continue with further simulations. And that's what WISE is all about. Determine what resources do I need, what skills should I have, where should they be based, what KPIs could I achieve. And I hope this demo snippet showcased how we could fulfill those requirements. And that was it for the workforce forecasting demonstration.
There's one thing I would mention on the back of that workforce forecasting. One is it's employing AI technology. So we've got 35 algorithms that the engine's utilizing and intelligently learning from past exercises. Secondly, it very much addresses the move to outcome-based service, because one of the challenges is when our customers commit to an outcome-based contract, maybe take on a different availability, like the 95% aircraft availability, they need to do that with confidence. And by running this simulation tool and therefore changing or right-sizing the workforce, they can then price the contract profitably over the life of that agreement, maybe 5 years, 10 years. So it's a really powerful tool to support the move to outcome-based contracts.
During the pandemic, has that become more complicated for companies? Because obviously the staff are now all over the place. Have you seen that increase quite a bit, the number of work locations?
Yeah. For example, we had a customer that manages the London Underground and over 250 stations. Stations were closing and opening, and different capacities were being allowed through the gates at different times through COVID. And by running this tool, they've been able to move their workforce to adapt almost in near real time to that shift. Absolutely. Paul.
My name's Paul White. I look after the customer engagement portfolio within the service management unit here at IFS. And I'm going to show you a couple of the tools within that customer engagement portfolio today that are really designed to, make it easier for customers to consume and use these services directly from a self-service perspective, and even using some of the AI tools and techniques that Mark just talked about. So the first one I'm going to look at is our chatbot tool. And I'm just going to use the chatbot to book an appointment for a particular service. And then I'm going to show you our appointment assistant tool. And this is the day of the appointment. And everybody's familiar these days with Uber-like, tracking services. And this is our version of that appointment tracking thing, which basically allows customers to avoid all the frustration of being sat around waiting for the engineer's visit, and keeps him completely informed about what's happening. So I'm going to quickly go through these demos for you. So hopefully you can see my chatbot on the screen there. And again, this is something that's been launched from your web page. And this chatbot, I'll just ask it what it can do. So I'm going to type help. And this chatbot has been trained to do a variety of services, billing inquiries. In this particular case, we'll keep it nice and simple. I'm just going to report a problem. And again, the customer could type here, but we also have what we call suggested responses, which means it's really easy for the customer to interact with the chatbot. And it also improves the accuracy because we're not having to understand the text. And again, the chatbot is much more than about just pure text. So you can put rich content, images into the chatbot. I'm working for the Acme elevator and laptop company, and I've got an equipment fault with my laptop. So I'm going to click on equipment fault. It's going to automatically look up from my field service management system what type of laptop I've got. And it's told me that it can see my laptop is a model WASP-50. So I'm going to select the WASP-50. And then this is a little bit twee. So, it's going to take me through a triage script to see if I can diagnose what's wrong with the laptop. So like all great IT professionals, I'm going to use the old favorite, have you tried turning it off and on again to see if it works. Obviously, in real life, this could be a much richer script with a lot more useful information in it. But I'm going to say, I've tried turning it off and on again, and no, the reset didn't fix it. What I could do now, the chatbot could actually connect me to a remote expert, which Mark is going to show you in a few minutes, but I won't bother doing that at this part of the demo. All I'm going to do is just say is I want to book an appointment. And so this is now going to look in real time in our field scheduling and optimization system for a point. It knows who I am, it knows where I am, and it's selected the optimum appointments for me to book in order to for the customer to select and book that appointment. So I'm going to select the appointment. It wants me to confirm, I'm sure, and then it's going to send me an email saying my appointment's booked. So I've entirely within the chatbot in a self-service channel, I've managed to I've tried and failed to fix my laptop myself, but I've then gone and booked an appointment directly in our field with a real-time interface from the chatbot into our dynamic field scheduling solution that Jonathan's going to show you in a second. So a really simple scenario, but a very powerful one. And obviously the chatbot can do many other things than appointment booking. This is just one of the ways we use it in the customer engagement portfolio. So now let's just move on a little bit. And now it's the morning of my appointment. And what I'm going to do here is the morning of my appointment, I'm the customer now, and our field service management system, it sent me an SMS message. And in the SMS message is a link to my appointment assistant page. And the appointment assistant is a simple web page, so you don't need to install a mobile app. It'll run on any type of device. I'm running it here. I just decreased the size to emulate a smartphone here, but I'll quickly go full screen on that. And so if I was looking at it from my iPad, and you can see very, very clearly all of the the features of the appointment assistant. So the nearer it gets to your appointments, it'll actually draw a picture of where the engineer is on his route to your property. Before that, it might tell you, it'll give you a slightly wider appointment window. It might say, your appointment's between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and your engineer's got 3 more jobs before he gets to you. But the nearer he gets to your appointment, the more accurate information it will give to the customer. It'll also show you some, and again, this is all completely branded and configurable by the customer. It'll also show you any other relevant information. So when the scheduling system has actually assigned the engineer, it can even send the customer a picture of the engineer that's going to turn up, maybe for security purposes. You can send in the registration number of his van, and again, any sort of other key facts. You might want to say, he likes 2 sugars in his coffee, or whatever other information that you want to provide as part of the presentation of the information to the customer. And last but not least, we've also got the ability to offer an upsell message. So in here as well, we call this the marketing panel. So in there is a little personalized upsell message that will basically be targeted at this customer. And obviously, it can be quite a clumsy, unsubtle thing, getting an engineer to do an upsell directly. But if a customer has seen an upsell message directly, then they can ask the engineer about it when he arrives. Then it's a much simpler and more straightforward way to get that message across and potentially to perform a really useful upsell. I can also, when the appointments
I would tell the customer, please have a gin and tonic ready.
Well, that's what you can do. Mine says I'm driving a white van, but as I said earlier, you could say like 2 sugars in your coffee, or yeah, I'm definitely a gin and tonic man myself, so I'd be all over that like a rash. And it's not just about providing information though. At the end of the appointments, the appointment assistant can provide feedback, so the customer can rate and get an NPS type score from the appointment, and that feedback will then go and be submitted back. And again, it's a really simple, there's no going to complicated ways to get them. It's all presented in a single page. If the customer wants to even contact the organization, there's also a built-in chat mechanism. So you can actually start a real-time chat all from this single page and get back in touch with the organization. And I showed you appointment booking via the chatbot earlier, but we've also got exactly the same capability here. If for any reason the customer needs to reschedule that appointment, we've got the ability to reschedule the appointment. Again, this is doing a dynamic lookup in our field scheduling system and pulling back the slots that are relevant to that customer, and will basically allow the customer to select an appropriate new slot if they need to. So a really simple tool that absolutely though gets rid of one of the most frustrating moments for many service organizations, waiting for the guy to turn up, having to sit in all day, not knowing what's going on. And here, obviously, you've got the ability to know what's going on, and you've got a lot more beside. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Jonathan, but hopefully, unless there's any quick questions, but hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the really cool customer-friendly tools that the IFS Customer Engagement portfolio supports.
So over to real-time optimization. So now the visit is booked, and the intraday scheduling comes into play. And the business challenge here is that we know that the world of scheduling is really volatile, and business conditions constantly change. Customers rebook their appointment, field technicians calls in sick. There are needs for second visits sometimes, delays in traffic, etc. And our solution to this is our automated dynamic scheduling engine that works with AI in real time in order to resolve these issues without human interaction at all. So with the dynamic input that we get from the world, which can be any of these ones, it provides dynamic optimization as an output. So when business conditions change, it enables our customers to react quickly to these events and automate it. And thereby, they also get unique business results from our scheduling solution with more automated decision-making, better SLA hit rates, less travels, and increased utilization of resources. And I'm just about right now to show you an example of how the scheduling algorithms work in real time. And in order to do so, I will use a tool, part of our simulation suite, where we can study and see how the algorithms work. There it is. So here on the map, we can study a scenario of a couple of resources here in the quadrants and a number of jobs in the circles to be carried out. As you can see, as soon as the scheduling engine is presented with a certain problem, it also solves that problem instantly in real time. And when conditions change, for example, when a new job drops in, the optimization engine will also immediately react to this new business event and find an allocation if possible. So now we can see that resource number 3 got the most recent job. Of course, it applies all standard constraint mechanisms, such as, for example, a certain job requiring a certain skill here. I just marked A9 there, and maybe resource number 3 is the guy that have that skill. Then it will take that new input into account straight away. So that's one example of a simple constraint mechanism. If new urgent jobs drop in, for example, I will mark this job as urgent. We can also see how the scheduling engine will react immediately to make sure that that job is fulfilled as soon as possible. And what I would like to do from here is that I will start a simulator in order to study a working day. So very soon here, when the simulator starts to run, we will see how the resources starts to travel for their first job of the day. And we can see that here, that they are now dispatched for the first job and they are traveling. And even in day, when the scheduling problem changes, the optimization engine will take this into consideration. Even though there might be existing routes already scheduled, it constantly adapts to new business conditions. And how this would look like for a dispatcher, I will show you in just a second. And as a dispatcher, I'm monitoring the situation on the Gantt chart here. I can see the timeline in red moving on with the status updates of the jobs coming in dynamically as updates comes in from the field. And all I have to do as the dispatcher is actually just to look at my exceptions pane right here. Right now I can see that I have 2 unplanned activities. I can also see them down here. And in order to resolve the situation, I could, for example, add more overtime, call a subcontractor, etc. So this is really a touchless user interface where dispatchers only have to act on exceptions rather than focusing on scheduling activities to resources. And that's what I meant when I said that we automate up to 99% of all transactions available. So for example, if I now employed a subcontractor, let's say over here, will be a new situation for the engine to adapt to. And hopefully it would resolve some of the exceptions. And I could see right here now that we were missing the skill on that guy. So I'll add that real quick. And maybe I can add some additional overtime as well, for example, to study how capacity parameters can be taken into account as well. And I can again follow the situation here in my Gantt chart. And now I have 1 less job in exception. And this is really how a day plays out for a dispatcher using the IFS solution. Focused on monitoring, enjoying the automation taking place. And now all the exceptions are resolved thanks to adding another resource and some additional overtime for my resources in this scenario. And I can of course utilize our mapping views where you have a clear indication of what's going on. We even have heat mapping capabilities in here and so on as well. Analytics, as you saw on the screen straight away. And if we go back to the PowerPoint, we of course also have real-time operational insight into the processes when it comes to scheduling. And the dashboard you see on the screen here is not just a BI dashboard. It's actually something that is actionable, that users can drill into, slice and dice to get to the record that needs action taking straight away. So it's actionable operational insight that we provide with direct access to relevant records. So the final stage is now here. The technician is dispatched, arrives on site, discovers some kind of problem which he needs assistance in order to resolve. And with IFS, he is enabled to do so via IFS remote assistance. And this is really one of the products that has been most well received during the ongoing pandemic, where the need for remote services has increased dramatically, and it has enabled the continued operation of several of our customers. If you look at what it does, it enables an on-site technician to get help from a remote expert with visual aids such as hand gestures, comparative guidance with tools and parts, with true merged reality illustration of hand gestures, tools and parts, and so on.
How about something like HoloLens or?
And it's also enabled to either be deployed just on a smartphone, which is the quickest time to value option, but it can also be deployed on head-mounted devices, such as on HoloLens or smart glasses and so on.
Okay.
Fully operational on those platforms. And not only is this product fit to work for internal use cases, it can also be deployed for customer support use cases. For example, in case a customer needs help with their install, for example, a call center agent could immediately send them an SMS link to initiate a collaborative session. It can be used to, for example, identify spare parts if the customer needs to order something. Then it's super easy for the call center agent to just pick up the right spare part, show that in the merged reality illustration, and the customer can easily compare. And what we'll show now in the demo will be Mark as a technician calling me as a remote expert. And we'll get this going in just a second. So now, Mark, I'm awaiting your call here.
Okay, so I'm about to call you up. Because it's the first time, it's asking me to give access to various things.
Yeah, and I'm on call, so I will now answer Mark's call here. So it's now connecting our session.
Mark, what are you on? You're on
I've literally got an iPhone 8.
Okay.
And we usually start off with a face-to-face session like this, and I will now click. I will give help to Mark as he had an issue.
I would not trust Mark, but you know him better.
I know.
I'm the expert, so I don't need no trust from Mark in this case.
Yeah, look what I've done here. I have these cables, and I have no idea how to power my laptop from this configuration. It's crazy.
So Mark, if I point with my hand here, I would guess that there would be a power supply port somewhere on this side, or could it be on the other side of the PC?
It looks like it could be that one there.
Yeah, could it be that one? Could you possibly show me the cable?
Yeah. Can I? Here's the cable. So I think it might be this piece.
It is probably that. It is probably that cable. Yes.
Okay.
So if you
try and plug this in.
Yes, you plug that in right there.
Okay, and now I've still got no power.
Okay, so let's freeze the screen here, and I will annotate a bit on the screen.
That's good, because I can put the phone down now and still watch the screen on my phone.
So now the image is frozen. It was moving a little bit there, so the quality might not be the best, but it's still good enough for me to annotate here. So what you need to do here is this part.
Yeah.
That needs to be fit into here.
Oh, well spotted. Well spotted. And you know what? Because the image is frozen, I can use two hands to plug that together.
Exactly.
Right.
And then we can go back to the live session. So
Okay,
yeah, right in there.
Okay, let me give that a try, and I'll fire it back up. You wanna?
I will unfreeze the image now.
Hey, there you go. Look, if I look at the bottom of the screen now, the power, it's charging. You see that?
Perfect. That's great. I will give that a thumbs up.
Excellent.
Nice.
I can see that. Excellent.
So that's how we enable field technicians to resolve more visits during the first time. And it's a really powerful product. And there's more to it as well. You can share documentation and do third-party calls, etc. But this highlighted the main use case, and yeah.
And we've recorded the whole session, all that video. It's essentially merging two video streams in real time. So by recording that, when I phone up again, perhaps in a week's time, and say I've still got a problem, the operator can guide me through, and review the entire procedure that we just followed to make sure it was, to compliance, and the service was carried out, the cable was replaced, whatever it might be, for proof of warranty and proof of service.
And in addition to that, not only is the video recorded, it's actually tagged against the appropriate business object. So if we had, for example, Mark's PC here in the install base, it would be tagged against that individual unit. So the next time he has a problem, we have knowledge to utilize there.